Eychimo here. Today we're going to do a little tutorial on how to set up macros using a program that I use. It's really simple to use. It's nothing difficult. Anybody can do it. It has to be on a PC though. I do not believe it works with Xboxes or whatever, but I do not know. I use Windows 10. If you're using a different operating system, you'll have to adjust accordingly for what you're using. First thing we need is the program to do this. Easy way to get this program is just open up your search box, type in STO Keybinds, hit the enter key, and you're looking at it right here, STO Keybind download from SourceForge. Click on it, it brings up their web page. It's a free download, doesn't cost you anything. You can donate. I recommend you do. It does help the guys out. They're keeping it updated, which is nice. So if you can't afford to throw them $1 or $2, throw them. Okay, hit download. Once it downloads, you want to install it. It does it all automatically. Okay, we have it installed now. Now we want to open the program up. This is the program, what it looks like. First thing we'll want to do is we'll want to add a set. We want to call it something. We'll call it, I have test, we'll just call it test. G for ground. We'll want to add a key to it. A key set. After you'll add a key set, you have to figure out your actions. We'll go over here. You want to know what key you want it to make. I use a 360 Xbox controller. You can use any key or key combination on your keypad. It doesn't make any difference. I use the controllers because I enjoy it more. You'll see you'll have all the options of what you want to use, including Xbox controllers. I happen to use mine on the right pad down, left, right. So we'll hit F, right pad. Now we'll want to add an action, an activity. The activity you want to use, I use whole tray. You don't have to. You can bind individually. You can bind groups. You can do. Well, you can see you have all kinds of options here that you can use. I just like using the tray. You have 3 trays on ground, 3 ability trays. So that's what I pick. Let me find it here for the tray. We want to use tray. Frame rate. Well, I've done this so many times. I see clear tray, clear target. It's in here somewhere. Here it is. Execute full tray. I use full tray. You can use partial. You can use just a slot on a tray. It's up to you. But I want to use the full tray. So I'm going to say the full tray. If I go partial, it's going to give me a list of the 1 through 0, which buttons I can use. You have 10 slots here. It's all set up now to work. All you have to do is you'll want to save the file. It will save it. You want to save, and then you want to create a bind file. Once it creates a bind file, you'll see this light up here. It's already saved your clipboard right now. You don't have to do anything else. Right now, this macro for tray 1, as a matter of fact, I probably ought to switch it to 2, which is what I have, so you can see it when I show you how it works. We'll go to tray 2. You've got your first tray, your second tray, and your third tray. I'll set it up to tray 2 because that's what I'm using. Once again, save the file, create a bind. Then now it's already saved to clipboard. You don't have to do anything else. All you have to do is exit the program. Okay, the rest of it we do in Star Trek Online. I've already got the program running in the background, so we'll just fire it up here. I'm actually using the same thing on different trays, using the same way I programmed it for ground. I'm using it here in space. I'm using slot 4. You'll see where I have it set here 4. You'll see have all the abilities that I have on that macro. I'm also using 7. We'll scroll it up here. Whoops, passed it up. And there's all the abilities I have used to 7. As right now, these will work. To get them to work the first time, you got to open your enter box. Control V. We'll paste that in, hit enter. Your bind file is now a part of your program. You never have to enter it again unless you change it. If you open the file and you change it and you save again, that's the only time you will have to change this once you get it set up. You never have to do this every time you start the game. It's done. It's over with. Right here. I've got this on this one. I've got the X and Y keys bind. I got Y key bind for the 7 spot. You see it setting off my setting off all of my abilities that I want. And the same thing, we go down here to 4. Now I'm going to set off the other bunch. And it's that simple. Now, sometimes you have to have things targeted before they work, of course. That's just the way it is. You can't set them off manually unless you have things targeted. But as you can see, everything works off the 2 keybinds. I have 2 buttons and I control 20 abilities right now off 2 buttons on my Xbox controller. You can do the same thing with your keyboard. You can just hit instead of hunting and pecking, Control Shift, Alt Shift, 1 through 10. Instead of doing all that shit for all your abilities, you can just bind them into macros however you want to. You have 7 trays you can use in space. You have 3 you can use on the ground. And you can cut down your keystrokes by what, 100 in space? It's up to you. It makes things so much easier. Works the same way on the ground. And you'll have to do both. You'll have to do one for space. You'll have to do one for the ground. It's a different keybind set. So you make your space keybind. You bind it. You create a bind file. You enter it while you're in space. And then you do your ground one. And then once we're on the ground, we'll do the same thing. We'll go down here on the ground here, and we'll do the same thing. We'll walk over here, get out of everybody's way. Same thing. Just open up your chat box, whatever your command is, or just click it. Once again, that bind file that different bind file now, space and ground. Remember that. You got to make one for each. Then Control V puts it in your box, and you're good to go. Hit enter. You make sure you hit enter. If you don't hit enter, it will not install it. But once it's installed, you never have to do it again. Now, on ground, you'll note, remember I said to my right D-pad button here. I just press it, and you'll notice my bar 2, my slot 2 is what I'm using on this tune, and it will set off all my abilities that are available. And they come back up automatically. You can just spam this every time one of your abilities is available. It'll set it off because they never all come back at once. Or you can wait until you get a whole tray clear and then you can start setting them off again. That's how on the ground you get burst damage. If you use all your offensive abilities to buff yourself on the ground and you do it all at once, you're going to do burst damage, and you're probably going to do 3-4 times the amount of damage you normally do. But I just keep it going the whole fight. Besides attacking, besides firing my weapons, I just keep tabbing that, my button, and it just keeps my abilities loaded whenever they can load. Makes it real simple to do, and your DPS will go way up both in ground and space. Your survivability will go up, and you don't have to chase keyboard buttons, keyboard combinations. Just bind it as simply as you possibly can. And like in space, I use 2 trays. You can use 4 if you want to. If you want to split it up even more than I do. I use my tactical offensive on one tray, and I use my science buff stuff like that on another tray. I broke it down into 2 trays in space. Another thing, on ground, when you're making macros, only install the abilities that are instant cast or very short cast time. Some of these abilities on ground take 2.5, 3 seconds to cast, and if you spam them, I guarantee you, when you're in the middle of trying to get something done, you'll hit one of those. And now all of a sudden you're standing up in the middle of a gunfight on a 2.5 seconds cast. So anything that's a long cast, I do not put on my ground tray. I keep it off there. It's all instant cast. Whatever I can fire off quickly where it doesn't delay me. That way it doesn't put me in a situation where, damn, I don't want to sit there and be standing there because you can't cancel. You know what I mean? And you know how you stand there and you just have to take all the damage they're throwing at you, and it gets you in trouble. So try to keep your long cast stuff off your ground macro. You can still singly use them, but they're situational when you have time to use them, when it's not important. But if you use it any other time, it's going to get you killed. So that about explains it. I hope that helps everybody out. And everybody have a lot of fun in STO.